Hey everyone, this is Phong with Remax. I'm here with Jeffrey Dubose. He's with Prime America. He does financial coaching with a focus on life insurance. He's been with them for 4 years, going on 5. So Jeffrey, can you share with me why do we need life insurance?
For sure, I'll be happy to do that. It's a great question, and I think the best way to answer your question, is to actually explain what life insurance is for, and also pose a question or a couple questions for you to consider. So, is that all right if I do go ahead and do that?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So the purpose of life insurance is really it's about bridging the gap between your liabilities and your assets. You're probably like, what's liability and assets? Well, liabilities are generally, things that you pay, or think like debts. You can think of them as that. All right, and then your assets are things, which are generally going to be things that you're paid from, or you can consider ownership in them. So a few example of liabilities, things that land in that category, might be like having dependents who are financially depending on you, right? So you're financially supporting them, or like paying off your debt or paying off a home or a car loan, things like that, credit cards, that falls into that category of liabilities. And then assets, you're probably really familiar with, having
Mhm.
equity in a home, things like that, a
Mhm.
401k,
Mhm.
individual retirement account, which is basically an IRA. That's what an IRA stands for. And then like inheritance received. So you might be waiting on inheritance, but once you receive that, that's an asset. All right. So basically those are assets and liabilities just to understand. So you might be wondering, what is the gap? Where's that gap coming from? Well, that's a good thought to be having if you are having that. So basically how you can think of the gap is typically for most people early on in their life, they have greater liabilities, right, than what their assets are. So their liabilities are up here somewhere and their assets are down here. And there lies the gap that we're trying to bridge what life insurance is trying to do. Because, early on you have kids, you have, mortgage, you have responsibilities are high, and the assets when you just start off adulting, those are low, having low assets. Um, so that's generally how that goes, and that's where that gap is created that life insurance is trying to bridge. Um, and then you see also, you might be saying, okay, so what do I do with that? And let me back that up one more step. So as we're talking about life insurance, that's where it comes into play. Um, so the next question is, how do you bridge the gap in a way that matches how your life generally works? And generally in life, what happens with your liabilities and your debts over time, you're paying off those liabilities, right? And they're going down. And then your assets, over time, those investments accounts, they're growing. Your home is turning into equity more and more. So that's growing. So eventually that flips, and the assets are up here and those liabilities are down here, right? So and that takes time that for that to happen, but as life goes on, that process is generally that change of assets and liabilities. So really, what we're trying to figure out with a life insurance and the use of life insurance is, well, how big is my gap? How long am I going to have that gap that I need to be bridging? And so, how long do I need life insurance to be bridging that gap? And that's really, get into more details of what life insurance, how much life insurance you need. But for the most part, you need life insurance if you can see in yourself and you can think to yourself, do I have a gap, right? Is my liabilities above my assets right now, which is perfectly fine, as normal. And if that is the case, we want to make sure that we're protecting our income, life insurance, in other words, for life insurance income protection. So protecting that income ensures that if something unexpectedly happens to you, your family is not going to be left with a financial burden. So really, life insurance is to bridge that gap and not leave your family with a financial burden.
Oh, that sounds good. You mentioned earlier that you would need insurance for how long would you need insurance if you still have a lot of liability?
Mhm.
If you
Uh,
continue to have a lot of liability, so you're thinking that you still need life insurance?
yeah, yeah. So, you know, over the span of your life, your liabilities may go down and your assets are going up, but that doesn't necessarily mean they'll go away completely. But your assets, at the point where your assets are exceeding your liabilities, that's really the time frame. So however long you might think it would take for your assets to overcome your liabilities, so to speak, that'd be the time frame you want to plan for. So really, you want to. It's really about planning it and kind of seeing when you can expect it. So it might be, for a 20-year-old who's probably maybe looking to retire around 55 or 60. They're going to need like 30 years or something to get them to a point in their 50s, or probably more like 25 or 55s, to be secure. And really, at that point, it's a point where you assess: do I need the life insurance still to bridge a gap, or do I not need it? And really, you can still have it if you want it, but when you don't need it, it doesn't impact you if you don't have it, right? So it's really important
Yeah.
that you have it when you need it. Um, and if you want it, you can have it in that case too. But really, where will financially hurt you is you don't have it when you do need it. That was a lot of a word kung fu going on there. But what I mean to say about that is, like, we got to figure out, when are you going to need it and cover the time that you need it for.
So it depends on if you now your asset you have a lot of assets. You've cut down on your liability, so you can just stop the life insurance, and you would take that money and you start investing in something else that makes money for you for retirement. So that's something you go over with your clients too.
Yes. Yep. So that is something to be taken care of. So for the time that you are having life insurance, you want to make sure you have the right term, all right? So the right amount for that span of time. So whether it's 20 years, 30 years, but while you're protecting your family or your income with life insurance, you want to be working or investing simultaneously. So you don't want to
Oh,
just,
okay.
like, that. For those assets to grow, you want to have your life insurance, but be working, putting your income to work for you in the future. And that's really getting into investments. But at that point, yes, if say the end of your term, if you don't need it, you can then reallocate that money to go to more investments, or it can go to other bills or things that it would better serve you if you don't see the life insurance being something that you want anymore. So, hope does that
Yeah,
answer your
yeah,
question?
that could answer my question. Yes, absolutely. So how does people, if they want life insurance, they want to talk to you, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, so really reach out in any way, whether it's questions. If you have more questions that need to be answered, they can contact me at my email, jdubose0945@gmail.com, or they can reach out to me at my website. I'll post it in the link in here. There's many ways that they can give me a call as well. My contact information is on my website that I'll share. But yeah. If they have any questions around, how do I
Can they
properly
call you?
protect my family? Yep, I love to, educate them, answer their questions, and then, put together, a strategy that's going to work for them. Figure
Yeah,
out what they need, because
yeah,
everybody's needs may be different.
yeah.
But the biggest thing is, if you need it, let's get you covered. Um, because not having it, impacts the ones we loved, and just don't want to see anybody, using a GoFundMe or things like that, where it can be taken care of in a smooth and less stressful way for your family.
Thank you. Thanks for informing us, giving us this information.
Yeah, my pleasure, Fong. anytime, and I look forward to being on here again with you. Thanks for having me.
Yes.